He opened a letter confirming a $15,000 loan, approved, signed, and already processed in his name. Marcus hadn't applied for anything, but the bank told him it was authorized through his work email. Before the call even ended, one fact was clear. Someone inside his office had used his identity. The air in the kitchen felt heavier. He read the line again. His apartment was too quiet, the kind of quiet that made every sound sharp. The hum of the refrigerator, the soft tick of the ceiling fan. He read the line again. Congratulations, your personal loan has been successfully processed. At first, he laughed. That small, nervous kind of laugh people make when something makes no sense. Then the laugh stopped halfway through his throat. His name, his address, his email, all correct. He checked the sender. It was real. The bank was local, 3 blocks from his office. He rubbed his eyes, convinced it had to be a scam. Still, he picked up his phone and called the number on the letter. A woman answered after 2 rings. Her voice was calm, rehearsed. "Thank you for calling Western First Bank. How can I help you?" He explained, tried to sound composed. She asked for his ID number. He gave it. There was a pause, too long. Then she said softly, "Yes, Mr. Dean, I see it here. The loan was processed 2 weeks ago, digitally signed from your work email." His grip on the phone tightened. "My work email?" "Yes, sir. That's the record." She read back the timestamp, 8:23 p.m. He hung up without thanking her. The room suddenly felt smaller. The air conditioner clicked on, and he jumped. He sat at the table, letter flap before him, eyes fixed on the signature line. His digital signature. He'd never seen that version of it before. On the counter lay a small stack of office mail from last week. Nothing important. But the top envelope had his company's logo. His pulse picked up. He opened it. Inside was a copy of his W-2 form. He remembered the day Rick, his manager, had asked for it. "Payroll needs verification," Rick had said, leaning on the cubicle wall with that easy grin. Marcus looked down at the papers again. The grin stayed in his head longer than it should have. HR said it was probably a mix-up. Systems cross sometimes, the woman behind the desk said, eyes never leaving her monitor. "Just contact the bank, Marcus. They'll sort it out." He waited for her to look up. She didn't. Behind him, the office hummed the same gray note it always did. Printers, keyboards, the low hum of forced air through the vents. Rick's laugh carried across the cubicles. That bright, practiced laugh. "Hey, Marcus," he called. "You all good, man? HR scaring you again?" The words hit like a pat on the back that hurt more than it helped. "Yeah," Marcus said quietly. "Just paperwork." Rick grinned, tapping his coffee lid twice before walking away. "Better keep track of that. You know how they lose stuff here." The rest of the day blurred. Calls, emails, background chatter. His screen glowed with customer names he couldn't focus on. Every time the phone rang, it startled him. Around 4, a coworker leaned over the cubicle wall. "You okay? You look pale." He nodded, lied, said he was fine. When the clock hit 5, he didn't leave. He sat alone at his desk, watching the office empty. One by one, screens dimmed, lights clicked off, the hum softened. By 8, it was just him and the distant hum of the vending machine near the break room. He scrolled through his inbox again, searching for anything about the loan, anything he might have missed. Nothing. But there it was, an old email from Rick, subject line, payroll verification request, dated 3 weeks ago. He opened it, stared at the attachment. His ID, his social security scan, sent by him, forwarded to Rick. The fluorescent light above his head flickered. He could almost hear Rick's voice in his head. "It's just for corporate compliance, man." He leaned back in his chair, the plastic creaking under his weight. His reflection in the dark monitor looked calm. Too calm. Inside, something had started to shift, not anger yet, but focus. For a moment, it felt like the problem might already be over. It wasn't. He stared at the screen a moment longer, feeling the quiet stretch thin. Then he opened a new folder on his desktop and named it Proof. He almost believed it was over. For a moment, his hand hovered over the keyboard. No anger, just that quiet line between fear and resolve. Then he began to type. "I believe a loan has been taken out in my name without authorization." The words hit the screen like small, deliberate steps in the dark. The click of the keyboard sounded too loud in the silence. He attached the scanned letter, hit send, and sat back. For the first time all day, he felt a thin line of control return. At 8:23, his inbox pinged. A reply from the bank. The message was short. "We have received your request. Attached are the digital signature details and associated metadata." He opened the file. Numbers, timestamps, technical data, meaningless to most. But one line stood out. IP address, 10, 37, 142, 05. His breath caught. That was the company network. The timestamp matched the moment he'd been home watching a basketball game. He stared at the screen, unmoving. Then, almost mechanically, he pulled up the office network logs he'd saved months earlier for a project. Cross-referenced. The same IP. Logged in by Rafalin at Premier Electronics. Calm. The air in the office felt colder suddenly. He printed the email, the metadata, the log entries, one page at a time. Each sheet slid into the output tray with a soft mechanical sigh. The sound was steady, precise, almost calming. When the last page came out, he gathered them carefully, aligning the edges like they were fragile evidence. He placed them in a plain envelope and wrote one word on the front: copy. That was the moment it changed. No big declaration, no rush of anger. Just a quiet, absolute decision, the kind that leaves no way back. He powered down his computer, the whir of the fan fading into stillness. The office smelled faintly of dust and burnt toner. As he left, he glanced toward Rick's cubicle. The man's jacket still hung over the chair, a coffee cup half full beside the monitor. The red light on his desk phone blinked once, then stopped. Marcus didn't. The next morning, he walked into Western First Bank with the envelope under his arm. The lobby smelled like cold air and copier toner, all glass and soft voices. He took a number, sat down, and waited. When they finally called him up, the loan officer, a woman in her 30s with sharp glasses and a calm, practiced smile, greeted him like any other client. That changed when he slid the envelope across the desk. "These are the system logs," he said quietly. "They'll match your signature file." She looked confused at first, then curious. She opened the envelope, spread the papers neatly. Her eyes moved quickly, line to line, stopping once, then again. The hum of the printer behind her filled the silence. "Where did you get these?" she asked. He didn't answer right away, just said, "From where it started." Her professional tone slipped. This IP address belongs to your employer?" He nodded. Something shifted in her posture, a small, sharp awareness that this wasn't just paperwork anymore. She stood up, took the documents into a back office. Through the glass, he could see her speaking to a man in a suit, their heads close together. The man looked toward Marcus once, then disappeared deeper inside. The waiting stretched. The clock on the wall ticked loud enough to count every second. When the woman returned, she didn't sit this time. "We'll need to retain these for internal verification," she said. Her voice was steady again, but her hands weren't. "You'll be contacted very soon." He nodded, stood up, and left. The air outside felt sharper, almost clean. Back at the office, HR had called an urgent meeting. Rick was there, arms crossed, eyes tired but defiant. The HR manager's tone was clipped, official. "We're conducting an internal audit. Rick, we'll need your credentials and laptop." Rick's jaw moved once, like he might argue, but he didn't. He just stared at Marcus, a long, flat look that said more than words could. The sound that followed wasn't loud, just the metallic click of a stapler binding the paperwork together. But it felt final. They said the case is moving fast. 3 months later, the courthouse steps felt warmer than he expected. The trial had ended that morning. Short, factual, quiet. No drama, no defense theatrics. Rick Fallon, former regional supervisor, sentenced to 18 months for identity theft and wire fraud. Marcus didn't stay for the verdict. He'd left as soon as the judge began reading. Outside, the city moved the same as always. Traffic lights changing, pigeons scattering, people talking about things that had nothing to do with him. He sat on a low stone wall near the courthouse, a paper cup of black coffee cooling between his palms. The air carried the smell of exhaust and roasted peanuts from a food cart nearby. For the first time in weeks, he wasn't waiting for an email, a call, a decision. The envelope in his pocket was thin, one sheet of paper from Western First Bank. He unfolded it carefully. The letter was short. "Your account has been cleared. The loan has been voided. Your credit record remains unblemished." He read it twice, slower the second time, like testing the weight of the words. Then he smiled, not wide, but real. The kind of smile that happens when the body finally believes it can stop fighting. Across the street, his office building gleamed in the afternoon light. Same logo, same windows. A new, now hiring, banner hung over the front door. He watched a young man walk inside, tie crooked, nervous. Marcus wondered if anyone had told him what used to happen on the fourth floor. Probably not. He sipped the last of his coffee, folded the letter, and slid it back into the envelope. The printer sound came from somewhere inside the courthouse. One soft mechanical rhythm, steady and calm. It made him think of that night again. The moment the truth first came out of the tray, one page at a time. He stood, brushed the dust from his sleeves, and crossed the street. Didn't look up, didn't need to. The wind caught the edge of the letter in his pocket. He let it stay there, fluttering once before settling. Light, real, finished.